All right, so welcome. Today we're going to talk about a southern summer staple, which is the tomato pie. Today I get to teach Elizabeth Drew how to make the tomato pie. Now the classic version of the tomato pie, of course, is a pie shell and the tomato ingredients, and it's delicious. But today we're going to focus on the handheld version, which is going to be a deep fried handheld pie. Nice and portable, great to make. And so real quick, our ingredients, Duke's mayonnaise, of course. We're going to use canned biscuits. This is the Grands, the Pillsbury Grands version of that. A block of cheese. So here's the thing with the block of cheese. We're going to shred this cheese. Do not buy shredded cheese at the store. If you buy pre-shredded cheese, it has starch in it to keep it from caking, and we don't want that in our tomato pie. So take the time to shred your own cheese. Salt, pepper, a little bit of white pepper. Now today we're using dried basil. If you have access to fresh basil, take the time. It's kind of worth it. It's a little bit stronger flavor, so everything works good with that. And of course, the star of this particular show is the homegrown garden tomato. Now, if it's January and you want to make this dish and you can't find a homegrown garden tomato, I guess you can do the store-bought version. But I would say if you have access to a garden tomato, you'll be pleased with that effort. So that's our ingredients. And all right, Drew, you ready to get started? All right, let's go. All right, so you can see we've got our cheese nicely grated. Remember that was the block cheese. We got it grated up good. We're gonna add the mayonnaise to that and get that mixture ready. That'll be the salt, the pepper, the basil, a little bit of the white pepper will go in that. We're gonna mix that up till it's about the consistency of pimento cheese. Also got some bacon here that we fried. We're gonna crumble that up just as an extra kick. If you want some bacon in it, that's an idea. Now the tomatoes have been sliced and I've let them dry for about 30 minutes on paper towels. That'll help when we go to seal our dough and make our pies. You don't want too much moisture from the tomatoes leaking out or the dough won't seal. So that's where we're at right now. So let's get our cheese mixed up and then we'll start making pies. Okay, so we're not gonna measure our seasoning. We're gonna use our heart. We're gonna use how we feel about what's going on right now. So we'll start with the white pepper because we're gonna use the least amount of that. White pepper's pretty strong. There's a lot of flavor to it, which is good. And then our dried basil, just enough kind of, that feels just perfect. And don't need a ton of salt, but we do want a little bit of salt in the mix. And my favorite, of course, the black pepper. So we get that coated really good. And now you can mix that up, and that will be the part of the filling for our tomato pies. So now we've got our biscuit dough rolled out. We just took our 1 can biscuit, we got it rolled out flat. We're gonna take a little bit of our cheese goo right here. Just get that right there in the middle of our biscuit dough. We don't wanna overstuff these because we're gonna have to seal this up. So get that in there. We're gonna add a few of our fresh tomatoes right there on top. And for this one, we'll go ahead and add a little bacon to it. So we got our fresh bacon, fresh fried bacon that we've kind of crumbled up. Some chunks right there. Now we have to fold this over. So we may have to use this knife. We want to keep this edge of the biscuit dough so that the dough will seal. So we really don't want to get it wet. Part of the reason for getting those tomatoes dried off a little while ago. And then once we've got that dough where it'll seal all the way around the edge, and we're going to grab a fork just to make sure. We'll stick the edge like that a little bit with the fork, make sure that dough's sealed up nice, everything's distributed good inside there, and we'll flip it over just for good measure and we'll do the other side. So. And now we're ready to go to the fryer with our tomato pie. Right, so we're gonna take our pie, we're gonna put it over here in our hot grease. And we got our oil ready. It's a nice medium low. Oh yeah, it's talking about it. Just gonna kind of keep it turning. We want to get everything melted and gooey inside, but we want to brown up the outside nice. That's getting nice and brown on that side. We also don't want gooey dough in the middle. There's not a lot of dough there, but we want to make sure that it gets done and that cheese has time to melt and kind of become one with the tomatoes and the bacon that we have inside there. Okay, we've got this nice and brown on both sides. So I'll take this out and leave it there for a minute or two, and then we'll be ready to cut it open and see what we got. Watching our video, that is the handheld fried tomato pie.